Before you sign an agency retainer, watch this. Most small businesses, in-house marketing wins, but it really does depend on one thing that nobody checks first. Get it wrong and you'll waste thousands. Get it right and you'll get consistent leads. Melissa was ready to hire an agency because her marketing felt random, scattered. She tried posting when she, had time, boosting a few posts here and there, and even paying for monthly content packages. And nothing stuck. No consistency, no clear leads. Then she realized the real problem wasn't who was doing the marketing, it was that there wasn't a system. We built a simple in-house rhythm using what her team was already doing each and every week, and suddenly she had a steady content and predictable inquiries without needing a big team or a giant budget. All right, so in-house marketing versus hiring an agency, which is going to be better? Most small businesses assume that it's, who's more talented question, but it's actually a systems question. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to give you a simple framework that makes the decision obvious. And it's also going to show you the hybrid option that most people should do. Here's the promise. By the end, you'll know which route fits your business right now and what to do next without guessing. First thing, this is not a binary decision. It's a spectrum. You can do everything in-house. You can outsource almost everything. And most businesses should land, somewhere in the middle. So the better question isn't, is an agency good or bad? It's what should be in-house, what can be outsourced, and what order should you do it in? Because depending on your stage, your cash flow, and your urgency, your best answer changes. And that leads to the real deciding factor. Here's a blunt trade-off. If you need speed, agency pretty much wins. If you need efficiency and long-term control, in-house usually wins. Think about it like this. Hiring in-house is slower, not because you're doing it wrong, because it's reality. You post the job, you interview, you pick someone, they ramp up, and depending on the role, that ramp can take months. Okay, now keep that in mind, but what if you have somebody in-house that can already do this and you just didn't know it yet? Okay, anyways, so if you're in a season where you're like, we need this live next week, or we need a campaign right now, or we need momentum right now, all of this urgency, agencies can move fast because they already have people and processes in place. But speed comes with a cost. Agencies are often more expensive than building the function internally over time. So ask yourself, do I need speed right now, or do I need a system that compounds? Because for most small businesses, this isn't faster marketing. The win is consistent marketing. And consistency usually comes from in-house, but not from doing everything yourself, from building one. Most companies need a few core marketing competencies that they're great at, and those should live in-house, because in-house has one unfair advantage. You live inside the customer. You hear objections. You know what people ask on calls. You know what's happening in delivery. You have the context. That kind of knowledge is hard for an agency to fully replicate. So here's the move that I recommend for most small businesses. Keep strategy, message, and customer insight in-house. Meaning your positioning and talking points, your content angles, your what we believe, the offer you're pushing, the voice of the brand. Because if you outsource those, you can get content, but it often feels pretty generic. Plus, here's another risk. When you outsource everything, the agency often holds the history. So if you switch agencies or stop, your momentum and your context can disappear overnight. Now, here's the part that most people miss. You don't need a full marketing department to keep core competency in-house. For many small businesses, in-house marketing can look like one internal owner, sometimes the founder. It could be a simple weekly content rhythm, a clear message and an offer, and maybe a contractor for, editing and design. That's it. But agencies do have a real superpower, and that's where it depends comes in. Two situations where agencies can play a strong role are when you're trying to move fast, like I said, launch, big push, time sensitive opportunity, or you need a fresh creative and an outside perspective. Founders and teams who've been around that product for years often explain it in a way that makes sense to them, but not necessarily to the market. An agency or an outside creative can spot a clear angle because they're not inside the bubble. Also, if something isn't working within an agency, it's often easier to change vendors than unwind internal structure. That flexibility can matter. So, agencies aren't bad, they're just often misused. Most small businesses hire an agency hoping that the agency will solve a problem that is actually internal, like an unclear offer, inconsistent execution, no content system, no internal owner. And if those are missing, an agency can become an expensive way to stay inconsistent. I have seen this firsthand, and it is one of the most frustrating things to be going through. Not only as an owner, but even as an individual, the person who's supposed to be owning it internally. So, what's the best practical setup? I'll give you the model that wins most often. Here's the short and clean answer. In-house should own direction. Outsourcing should support production. In-house owns what are we selling this month? Who is it for? What are the 3 to 5 core talking points? What objections are we addressing? What proof are we using? Outsource, as needed, they're going to be dealing with the editing, the design, the paid media setup, specialized campaigns, one-off creative concepts. Because once your internal message is clear, outsourcing becomes pretty powerful because now they're amplifying a system, not trained to invent one. And here's the key line. For most small businesses, in-house wins because it creates compounding knowledge and consistency. Now, let me make this decision dead simple. I want you to answer these 4 questions. This is going to be our 60-second decision framework. Do you have an internal owner? If nobody owns marketing internally, an agency won't fix that. You still need an owner. You've got to hear me on that because that is, like I said earlier, one of the most frustrating things to deal with. Secondly, do you need results fast or do you need reliability? Fast, an agency can help you move right now. Reliable, an in-house system wins long term. Now, I just want to preface this for just a second. As far as going for an agency or going in-house, if you have somebody in-house who has these skills, first of all, uncover them, discover them, and utilize them. And I'm talking like editing and creative, because a lot of times people don't know that they have those key people within the business. So do a little bit of digging before you start outsourcing. Okay, third question to ask. Is your message clear enough to delegate? If you can't clearly explain it, who you help, what problem you solve, what the offer is, then you are not ready to outsource that brain. And fourth, what's the one competency you must build? I want you to pick your core strength and build it in-house. Messaging, video, content rhythm, whatever becomes your engine. If you answer those honestly, the decision becomes obvious. So here's the bottom line. Most small businesses should build in-house marketing first. Not a big team, but a simple system with a clear messaging and a weekly rhythm. Seriously, you will thank me for this. Then use outside help to accelerate specific pieces. Like I said, editing, design, specialized campaigns, or an outside creative perspective. That's how you avoid wasting money and avoid being stuck doing everything yourself. If you want help setting up this in-house system the right way, so that you're not guessing what to post and you're not relying on an agency to figure it out for you, I want you to register for my free webinar. The link is going to be in the description. Go to the link and grab your spot.